Detective Benoit Blanc is back to subvert your expectations in a whodunit. But before we find out who did it, we need to find out who they are. If you said a bunch of social media arseholes who only care about themselves, you'd be right. It's a Knives Out sequel with a whole new cast of famous dickheads in Glass Onion. Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. That's right, Glass Onion, the sequel to Knives Out, written and directed here by self-proclaimed genius Rian Johnson. We open the film on being introduced to our cast of players. We get a no-nonsense politician mum here who is fighting the patriarchy, a wise millennial scientist who has to answer to his boss who has questionable methods but must work for him, an airhead socialite who's always on the cusp of being cancelled, and her assistant, and a gun-loving meathead, basement-dwelling men's activist bro who has a massive YouTube following and his gold-digging girlfriend. Who could you possibly be referencing? As subtle as a Sledgehammer movie, these characters all receive a puzzle box that they must solve. No, not that one. And once they solve the puzzle box, they obtain an invitation to go to Epstein's Island. Apparently they're all friends with this billionaire kook who's sort of a Steve Jobs / Zuckerberg type. Here, played by Edward Norton. They're all invited to this island for a weekend to play a role-playing convoluted game of Clue. We discover that this film is based in 2020 during the pandemic for reasons. Yeah, let's remind audiences of possibly one of the worst years of their lives. You know, the fun 2020 of local businesses being shut down, not being able to see deceased family members, and skyrocketing mental health issues. We then check in on Detective Benoit Blanc, and he's not having a good time in lockdown. He's feeling useless and a little bit depressed, and he needs a mystery to sink his teeth into. And wouldn't you know it, he also receives an invitation to go to this island to partake in the mystery murder. Here we witness the film giving us stunning vistas in Greece, and the guests arrive at this Bond-esque villain hideout. On an island, in the middle of nowhere. Hang on. Daniel Craig, stunning vistas, Bond-esque villain hideout? Could this be Rian Johnson auditioning to become a director in a future James Bond film? No! Barbara Broccoli, look away! Look away! The first hour of the film is establishing these characters, their past conflict with one another, and learning how much of an arsehole they all are. They all have motivation to kill their host here, which is Edward Norton's character Miles, as well as each other. Oh, and does the plot thicken as quick as Lizzo's thighs in summer? It's much like the first film, Knives Out, where about the halfway point, the film flips and subverts your expectations. Not gonna live that one down, hey, Rian Johnson, old boy? As the film goes on, reveals are afoot, twists and turns are a-twisting, and you might say layers are peeled back. The film steers you in one direction while trying to surprise you with a reveal or a surprise tickle of the balls, if you will. If you've seen enough murder mysteries, though, it won't be a huge surprise to you. The Knives Out structure is well on display here, like I said before, flipping the film halfway through. It seems to be a formula that Rian Johnson's going to use with this Knives Out trilogy, saga, whatever the fuck it's going to be. I don't completely hate it, but the first time around it was a surprise in Knives Out. But the second time in this film, it seems a bit formulaic. There's a few scenes that was obviously filmed on a soundstage here with the crisp colours and the fakeness of it all. And why this film is based during a pandemic is beyond me. Maybe it's Netflix trying to remind us of why we subscribed in the first place. Remember us in lockdown? Remember how we made you cope? Remember how much you loved us? Please stay. We also get a subtle reveal or hint, if you will, that Detective Benoit Blanc may be gay. Well, it is modern Hollywood after all. But like I said, it's a bit of a hint, if you will, not a straight out coming out, not committing to the bit. It's the Hollywood way of having a character come out. Like I said, not fully committing to it, not coming out loud and proud. Like Hollywood and all these filmmakers are very open and vocal about diversity and representation. Yet they can't fully commit because their film still has to be released in China or the Middle East. Modern Hollywood, virtual signalling, unless there's money involved. It seems Rian Johnson is doing his best Kenneth Branagh here, casting a whole new group of famous friends for his murder mystery. And I actually have to say, upon reflection, the structure was very similar to Death on the Nile. Was this film convoluted? Yes. Is it pretty silly and stupid at times? Of course. There's lots of conveniences and contrivances, but was it entertaining? Sure. It did keep my attention for the 2 hours and 20 minutes. But the thing about murder mystery movies is, once you've watched it, you know who the killer is, you know the reveal, you'd be hard-pressed to go back and watch it again. Probably the only reason why you'd watch it a second time is maybe seeing through fresh eyes once you know the reveal, were you duped correctly? Were setups and payoffs where they needed to be? It's probably why it was released on streaming service and not in a cinema. However, in saying that, the reveal of the killer isn't really that clever. In fact, one character blatantly comes out and says, "That's dumb. See, if we make fun of it first, audiences can't." There's worse ways to spend 2 hours and 20 minutes. Yeah, it wasn't completely terrible. Just don't think about it too hard. Anyway, guys, that's my review of Glass Onion, the Knives Out sequel. Write down if you've seen it. What did you think? Are you excited about the third installment? And of course, if you made it this far into the episode, please give me a thumbs up because your love and support keeps me going, because I just love movies, and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon because we give out episodes weekly. And we'll see you back here next week for the next review, and until then, stay spooky, kids.